So, welcome to Vermont. Woodstock, Vermont, to be exact. Jenny and I rarely vacation because we're busy. We have a lot of stuff going on, but we decided that we needed to take a little time off, and we figured that going to Vermont for the fall time would be probably the most fitting thing to make Jenny the most happy. So we're here. We just arrived in today, but it was quite the trek to get up here because we live in Pennsylvania, so it's about a 6-hour drive, but we decided to break it up a little bit and make the trip up here a little bit more interesting. So we started off by driving, and driving, and driving, and driving a little bit more. Until we made it to our first stop, Sleepy Hollow, New York. We made it to Washington Irving's house.
Okay, so what?
So Washington Irving was America's first internationally famous author. He is best remembered for The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Rip Van Winkle. And we are at his estate called Sunnyside.
Jenny's happy place. So Jenny grew up loving to read and watch The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which is just a really famous story that Washington Irving wrote, and Jenny's family absolutely loved it. So Jenny was like, if we're gonna head up that direction, we gotta stop. So we did the tour, we got to see his home. So I guess this is Washington Irving's home, and that's the Hudson River. Looks like a nice place, I think. It was kind of old and very well preserved, actually, so it was very interesting, the tour and learning about him and actually how famous he was back in the day without any internet and all this stuff. It was fascinating, actually. And then we got back on the road. About a half-hour away in Stamford, Connecticut, I found a Panda Express, and if you know me, when you find a Panda Express, you gotta stop. P.F. Chang's. I mean, Panda Express. Dude, this place has 7 floors. We found it. And then we hopped back on the road. We did a little bit more driving and a little bit more driving, and then we ended up in Hartford, Connecticut, where we met with Bob.
Hello.
Hey, Bob.
How you doing, sir? How are you? Pablo. Pleasure to meet you.
Hi, I'm Jenny.
Jenny,
Nice to meet you. How you doing today?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
We're doing well.
Long trip? Come on in and
All
we
right.
can see where things are.
Yeah, let's go. I love that.
Here's your keys.
Oh, well, thank you. Okay.
It does both this.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you,
Wait,
sir.
what did I give you?
Huh? This one?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So it was a super quick stay in Hartford. We only stayed for one night just on our way to Vermont. Before we headed out, though, we grabbed some breakfast.
This is the biggest pancake I've ever seen in my life. It's bigger than my face.
And then we arrived into town a little bit early, so we ended up actually going to see the original Ben & Jerry's ice cream factory and see where everything started, and we got to see like how ice cream was made. It was actually really cool, and they gave us some awesome samples also. Then we drove an hour back into Woodstock, and we actually got to see our Airbnb for the first time.
Got the kitchen right here. Got a little bit of a living space right here. Little TV on a suitcase. I love that. Come back here into the bedroom. Got a nice setup here. Some cupboard space. This is our stuff right now. Back here we got a little shower space in here. Little toilet. Got some towels here. This place is really, really, really nice. Super homey. I love staying in a homey Airbnb. It makes you feel like you live in the place that you're staying in for a little bit anyway. But after all that traveling, we were a little hungry, so we found this dope spot called Worthy Kitchen.
Maybe I'll do wings.
We never do that.
Super gay.
And then that brings us to right here. It's our first day here in Vermont. We settled into our Airbnb last night, and I went for my run this morning. I got a shower in, and I think now we're gonna head into town, find some breakfast, and we'll take it from there. I'm excited. I've never been here before, so let's do this thing. Find it?
Yeah. That's us.
So apparently it takes about 4.5 buckets full of sap to boil down to 1 quart of syrup. 4.5 of these to get to 1 of these.
Porcupines are common here.
That's cool.
This is a cow pasture. Watch for cow chips. Explosive cow chips.
You want to get married here?
You can get married.
I wonder if we could have a Faith Church worship night here. We could fit everybody in here. So I guess this is how they make maple syrup. It's like, you see this like line here? It runs through the forest. I guess it comes from all the way back there, off of like trees, I guess. Sugar bush trees, I think is what they're called. And then they run through this line and they go all the way back there to the factory that we were just in, the little house. And I guess that's how they take the sap into the buckets and then they make syrup out of that. It's pretty sweet.
Can you take a picture of me?
Yep. Holy freaking syrup. Ooh, that's heavy.